we will begin the 6th lecture on Christian ethics. Today's topic is abortion. There are about 4 to 5 million cases of abortion throughout the world each month, and 50 to 60 million each year. In Korea, 4,000 unborn infants each day and 1,500,000 unborn infants each year are aborted. There are also cases when a woman becomes pregnant with triplets. 2 fetuses would be aborted and only 1 child would be born. According to studies completed in Korea, 42% of single women have had abortions, and 58% of married women have had abortions. South Korea has one of the highest abortion rates among the members of the OECD, Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development. The highest ranking country is China, and China allows only 1 child per family by law to control the rate of increase in population. Hence, abortion is prevalent in China. Korea has the mother and child health law. According to the law, abortion is permitted if the mother's health is in danger, when the child may be born with a disorder, and in cases of rape and incest. However, all other abortions besides these have been declared illegal. There are more than 14 reasons for why people get abortions. First, women get abortions because they feel that their lives will be difficult if they have a child. Second, women get abortions because they cannot afford to have children in their current circumstances. Third, there are abortions because of problems in relationships. Fourth, there are abortions because some feel that having a child is not their responsibility. Fifth, some get abortions because of what other people might think of them. Sixth, there are abortions because the mother is too young. Seventh, there are abortions because couples already have the number of children they want. Eighth, women get abortions because the men, the fathers, urge them to get rid of the child. Ninth, there are abortions because the mother's health is in danger. 10th, there are abortions because parents and family members pressure women to get abortions. 11th, women get abortions when the pregnancy was the result of rape. 12th, there are abortions because there is a chance that the child may be born with disabilities or defects. 13th, women get abortions when the pregnancy was the result of incest. 14th, women get abortions when their lives are in serious danger. According to Korea's Mother and Child Health Law, the first 10 cases of abortion mentioned above are illegal, and abortion is not permitted. From the biblical point of view of Christianity, the last reason is acceptable. This means that if the mother is in danger of losing her life, an abortion is acceptable. But any other reasons for abortion are not. The reasons for abortion differ between married women and single women. In the case of married women, there are 3 main reasons for abortion. First, they did not want a child. Second, they just gave birth to a child. Third, the child is not the gender they hoped for. In the case of single women, there are also 3 main reasons for abortion. First, they are not married and are worried about what others might think. Second, they are minors. Third, they face financial difficulties. Liberal churches and women claim that abortion is entirely a woman's decision. On the other hand, conservative churches and women claim that the lives that have not yet been born have the right to be protected and be born. Again, liberal churches approve of conditional abortion and state that abortion is a woman's choice. They claim that women have the right to make their own decisions about abortion for their own self-realization and achievement. They assert that a woman must put herself first rather than the unborn child if the pregnancy will bring her unbearable physical and financial pain and difficulties, and therefore she must have the right to choose whether or not she will abort her child. There is an important key in identifying one's attitude towards abortion. It all depends on one's identification of the fetus. Is the fetus a simple living organism like an animal? Or is the fetus human? At what stage in pregnancy does a fetus become a potential human being? There are many views among scholars. Liberal scholars claim that a fetus is just a potential human being and not a real human being, because fetuses do not have self-consciousness. Thus, there are factors that one needs to be acknowledged as a human being, and one of the factors is a sense of identity. Therefore, they claim that in order for a fetus to be acknowledged as a human being, his brain must have formed and there must be detects of brain waves. These claims come from liberal theologians, and their claims are fairly evident in their relationships with others. According to their claims, the standard for being a human being is the sense of identity. This means that one must have conscience of his humanity, and he is considered a human being from the time he begins to act through his thought processes. It takes 10 weeks for a brain to begin functioning. Therefore, they claim that abortion is not an ethical problem if it is done before a fetus is 10 weeks old. Hence, they permit freedom of abortion. They also claim that one must be understood in a context of a relationship, and the mother must want to have a relationship with the unborn child. They say that humanity cannot be biologically defined. Just because a child is born through a man and a woman, it does not mean that they will define the child as biologically theirs. If a fetus does not have a meaningful relationship with its mother, and if the mother will not accept the fetus as a human being, then the fetus cannot be considered a human being. If humanity was defined relationally, the legitimacy of abortion should be decided entirely by the mother. What is the reason for so many abortions today? It is because the fetus is not acknowledged to have a relationship with the mother, and hence abortion is considered lightly. For example, if a child is conceived in a loving relationship between a man and a woman, but the relationship is broken off, the mother will not acknowledge the child's existence in the relational sense. The child will not be considered a fruit of their love, and such a case may lead to divorce. A mother does not acknowledge her child, especially if she becomes pregnant outside of marriage or while going through a divorce. Hence, she resorts to abortion. However, what liberal churches and women say about functions of humans and relational aspects does not agree with the Bible. The Bible states that a fetus has a relationship with God from the beginning, and it is a subject of God's love and protection. The Bible testifies that God is a God of love who cares for man as he is in his mother's womb. Therefore, a new life in a mother's womb is life that has been created by God, and its existence is under God's interference, protection, and love, whether it can clearly function or not. Psalm chapter 139 clearly prohibits abortion. Psalm chapter 139 verse 13. A child is created through man, but we must understand that God first establishes and creates human beings. We must not simply think that a child is born through a physical relationship between a man and a woman. God planned the birth of that child before He created the universe. God prearranged and established everything so that the child would be born in God's time. When Jesus taught about divorce, He said, "Therefore, what God has joined together, let man not separate." Therefore, just as people are not to be rash and get divorces, people must not be rash in getting abortions, because children are God's living creations. Psalm chapter 139, verse 16 says that whether a fetus is 1 week or 2 weeks old, he is the subject of God's love. God knew the child and saw the child before he was formed. God loves us and created us, and He knew us and looked after us even before we were born. With these verses as a basis for God's love, there is no way we can exclude unborn children from subjects of God's love. Although unborn children may not have standard functions as decided medically or philosophically by humans, God knows of their existence, and He cares for and loves them. This is the most important factor in accepting unborn children as human beings, and the most important factor in deciding the status of fetuses. These conceptions demonstrate that a human being is a human being from the moment he is conceived. Hence, we must see people as human beings who are made in the image of God from the moment God gave them life. Therefore, the unborn child has a covenant relationship with God, and God knows, cares for, and loves him. Abortion destroys human beings who God has given life to, and therefore abortion goes against God's will. Furthermore, abortion is difficult to justify unless the mother is in serious danger of losing her life. Today, more than 90% of abortions throughout the world can be seen as criminal acts that cut out God-given lives. The sixth commandment of the 10 Commandments say, "You shall not murder." An unborn child is indeed a life, and killing that life falls under the category of murder. An unborn child is life that has been created by God, life that is loved by God, and life that is cared for by God. And the act of ending an unborn child's life is a criminal act. Then what must we do if a woman becomes pregnant through rape? What must we do in cases of rape, incest, chances of disabilities in a child, or if a mother's life is in danger? There are difficult problems in life that are hard for us to discern. Abortion is one of them. There are indeed abortions as a result of pregnancy by rape or fear of giving birth to a child with disabilities. It is difficult to comprehend pregnancy by rape or pregnancy of a disabled child with our humanly thoughts and wisdom. Yet, what is certain is that what the Bible teaches regarding unborn children is the same in any case. Whether a child is conceived through rape or has a disability or is the result of incest, he is the subject of God's love, who was created in the image of God, and the fact that he is a living creation is unchangeable. We know that there is much pain and difficulties when a child is conceived in such ways. However, we must not ignore the fact that God's love for the child is much more important. An unborn child is clearly a living creation. Life that has been born or has not yet been born are both equally living beings, and they are cared for and loved by God. Therefore, it is a terrible criminal act for people to kill such living beings. Hence, the Bible teaches that all children must be given birth to. Too many lives are disappearing through abortion each year. We cannot deny that many Christians are getting abortions. There are many times in ministry when I see members of the congregation get abortions. There are some believers who have no choice but to carry on with abortion, even though they know that abortion is a criminal act. Some believers consider abortion lightly because they have not been taught about abortion and because they do not feel that it is a sin. Believers must understand that abortion is a great sin that ignores the sovereignty of God who gives life, and believers must prevent abortion. Single believers must also strive to live pure lives so that these things will not happen. Sexual intercourse before marriage is a sin before God. Married couples must also be careful so that their actions do not lead to abortion. They must use birth control so that there are no unwanted pregnancies, and they must plan and control themselves so that they do not easily conceive. The Bible says that when Mary met John the Baptist's mother, after John the Baptist and Jesus were conceived, the baby in the womb leaped for joy. This verse illuminates the fact that unborn children are living beings and are human beings. In conclusion, church leaders must properly teach about abortion so that abortion would be prevented and precious lives would not be killed. Here we will conclude the 6th lecture on Christian ethics. Thank you.